Distinguished chief guest, respected Nobel Laureate Professor Moungi G. Bawendi. Unfortunately, our Chancellor is unable to attend. As you heard before, there was an urgent inspection by the Government of India in one of our other units, so he had to be away on that assignment. He conveys his greetings and his wishes to all of you and to the august gathering today. Respected Vice Chancellor Dr. Vikas Misra, esteemed dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, renowned scientists, academicians, industry leaders, and innovators, dear faculty members, researchers, students, and delegates from India and abroad, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great day at Hindustan Group of Institutions today. Yet again, we have a very important guest and our friends from across the planet. It is with pride and profound pleasure that I address this gathering on the occasion of the International Conference on Quantum Horizons 2025. I extend my warmest greetings and a heartfelt welcome to all of you. At the outset, I would like to express our deep sense of honor in hosting the Nobel Laureate Professor Bawendi as a chief guest for this conference. Your presence amongst us is not only a celebration of scientific excellence, but also a powerful inspiration for our students and young researchers who aspire to push the boundaries of knowledge and innovation. I also welcome our distinguished keynote speakers, panelists, advisors, industry leaders, and collaborators who have joined us from across the globe. The theme of this conference, as mentioned by the Vice Chancellor, captures the defining challenges and opportunities of our times. Last night we had a very beautiful dinner for our guests from overseas, and we had quite an inspiring discussion about where we are heading as youngsters, where you all need to be heading, and the concerns which we all talk about today, the environment. Sometimes when you're with such leaders who does so much for society, it is so important and relevant because it churns the best in you for the benefit of mankind. So I think last night was a wonderful dinner. Some of you were part of the dinner last night. And perhaps someday you will also share a chair with such experts, hopefully. From quantum computing and secure communications to advanced materials, clean energy, artificial intelligence, and sustainable manufacturing, these technologies are redefining how societies function, economies grow, and nations compete. As educators and institution leaders, we must ask ourselves a fundamental question. How do we prepare our students and research ecosystems for a future driven by such transformative science? At our group of institutions, our answer has always been clear: by fostering excellence in education, relevance in research, and responsibility towards society. At HITS and our group of institutions, we're completing almost 4 decades at our university and almost 6 decades our group of institution. Our founder started it way back in '66. We'll be celebrating yet another milestone very soon. We have consistently evolved to meet the changing demands of science, technology, and industry. Our collaborations with KCG College of Technology for this conference reflects our belief that institutional partnerships strengthen innovation ecosystems. Together, we aim to create platforms where ideas flow freely across disciplines, institutions, and national boundaries. The conference has been thoughtfully designed to encourage cross-pollination of ideas. The inaugural session has many lectures, panel discussions on quantum materials and intelligent technologies. The interactions and technical sessions bring together physicists, chemists, natural material scientists, computer scientists, engineers, and industry practitioners. This convergence is essential because today's breakthroughs rarely occur in isolation. They emerge as the intersection of disciplines. Equally important is the role of industry and innovation hubs represented here today. Intelligent technologies must move beyond labs into scalable, affordable, and sustainable solutions. Industry-academia collaboration is no longer optional. It is essential for national progress. Platforms like Quantum Horizons help align research priorities with societal needs, industrial capabilities, and global sustainability goals. Sustainability, in fact, must remain at the heart of all technological advancement. As we pursue quantum and intelligent technologies, we must ensure that they contribute to clean energy transitions, resource efficiency, climate resilience, and inclusive growth. From an institutional perspective, we view conferences like this not merely as academic events, but as strategic investments in the future. They help build global networks, attract talent, inspire innovation, and reinforce India's position in advanced science and technology. I firmly believe that India has the intellectual capacity, youthful energy, and entrepreneurial spirit to emerge as a global leader in quantum and intelligent technologies, provided we continue to invest in education, research, infrastructure, and international collaborations. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the tireless efforts of the conference chair, organizing committee conveners, coordinators, faculty members, and the volunteers across the faculty members and the students from both the institutions who are organizing the event. The dedication and teamwork have made this prestigious conference a reality. Also thank our sponsors, advisory committee members, and international partners for their valuable support. As we commence this conference, I urge all participants to engage openly, question boldly, collaborate generously, and think beyond conventional boundaries. Let the discussions over the next 2 days plant the seeds of new ideas, partnerships, and innovations that extend far beyond this auditorium. In conclusion, I am confident that Quantum Horizons 25 will not only enrich our scientific understanding, but also strengthen our collective commitment to building a knowledge-driven, technologically advanced, and sustainable future. I would also like to mention my recognized Dr. Ajayan, who was kind enough to invite me and our academic, some of our researchers, to his wonderful University of Newcastle in Sydney last year for the 5th International Conference on Emerging Advanced Nanomaterials at Newcastle, University of Newcastle. Wonderful event attended by Nobel Laureates. That's where I met Professor Bawendi, and his talk on nanomaterials was excellent. The conference lasted for 5 days, morning to evening sessions. It was very technical, so I could only spend 1 day, beyond which would not be possible for me to understand. However, the lectures were wonderful. There were professors from all over the world. And the wonderful point I'd like to mention, as a leading researcher in nanomaterials, he has one of the best centers in Australia. I hope some of you, he has given wonderful opportunities for our staff and students to get trained there. If you do get an opportunity, please make sure you don't miss it. He's a great professor and a leader. I think all of you must look upon to him, and I appreciate his quality of knowing each and everyone's name in that wonderful conference. He would call them all out, each of the speakers by name and designation, and that's how much he values the social capital which he has developed over the years. And that's what brings the best research resources to him anytime, all the time. And I must thank him for bringing a wonderful guest to our campus today, so all of us may experience and learn from him, and of course Dr. Ajayan and all the other delegates who have come from across India and other countries. So I wish you all the best once again, and thank you all for being a part of this wonderful event. And I look forward to also the panel discussion which will follow this. We have a lot of children from across many schools who have eagerly signed up, and they have some questions they would like to ask the panel. I hope the panel will be able to satisfy the scientific thirst and hunger of our youngsters of our country. Thank you.
A very good morning to everyone present here today. I would like to also share that our Chancellor, Dr. Anand Jacob Burgess, though unable to join us this morning due to prior commitments, sends his warm greetings and best wishes for the success of Quantum Horizons 2025 and to everyone gathered here today. It is a rare privilege in the life of any institution to welcome someone whose work has not only shaped a field of science, but has reshaped how humanity understands the invisible world around us. Today is one such moment. I have the honor of introducing our chief guest, Nobel Laureate Dr. Moungi G. Bawendi, Professor of Chemistry at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Dr. Bawendi did not simply study quantum dots. He redefined them. At a time when the field was unpredictable, unstable, and scientifically daunting, he chose not to step back. Instead, through clarity, patience, and visionary thinking, he transformed quantum dots from scientific curiosities into one of the most impactful materials of our era, now used in advanced displays, medical diagnostics, bioimaging, and emerging clean energy technologies. After receiving the Nobel Prize, Dr. Bawendi shared a profound thought. Great science happens when people feel free to think, free to fail, and free to explore. That philosophy resonates deeply with the spirit we want to cultivate here at Hindustan, a culture where curiosity is encouraged, where experimentation is celebrated, and where young minds dare to challenge the status quo. Across 3 decades at MIT, Dr. Bawendi has nurtured hundreds of scientists, not merely to achieve academic excellence, but to become innovators who positively shape society. Many of his mentees now lead influential research laboratories, build pioneering companies, and push the frontiers of sustainability, medicine, and technology. As we gather here to explore quantum horizons, new materials, intelligent technologies, and sustainable futures, Dr. Bawendi stands as a powerful reminder that the future is built by those who push beyond what is known and imagine what is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense respect and pride that I welcome our chief guest, Nobel Laureate Dr. Moungi G. Bawendi.
To be here to open this conference on quantum materials and the future technologies. I've had a wonderful time in Chennai and in India so far, and I'm sure I'll come back. It's been great. I want to see more. My talk today is going to be the story of this material which we call quantum dots. It's a story of a journey of curiosity that turns into a technology. It's a journey that reflects often what happens in science and technology, where humans have an idea of how the world works. They want to explore the worlds. We're explorers of the world around us. And from that exploration, they discover new phenomena, they discover new materials, new ideas, and they take these ideas and phenomena and build science and technology around them. So let me start from the beginning, for me at least. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, because I think that our history also shapes the way that we think of. So I was born in Paris, in France, and my mother is French, my mother is Tunisian. And so Tunisia is a small country in North Africa, right at the tip of between Algeria and Libya. And so as a result, as a child, my parents moved back and forth between Europe and North Africa. And I was exposed to these two different cultures back and forth. But as a child, I never really felt like I belonged in either one of those. And I was always a little lost. Luckily in Tunis, people spoke French, so I didn't have to struggle with two different languages, at least then. And here's me as a 6-year-old on one of my journeys back and forth between Paris and Tunis with my parents and my sister. And then when I was in 1971, when I was 10 years old, my parents decided to move to the US. And there's me as a 10-year-old child in the airport in Orly in Paris on my way to become an American. My mother had tried to get me to learn English, and I didn't believe her when she said that people didn't speak French in the US, because they spoke French in Tunisia, right? And it was a different country. I hadn't needed to learn Arabic. And so when I got to West Lafayette, Indiana, in the middle of the US, I was a bit lost. The first child to come across the street to play with me started to speak to me in English, and I had no idea what he was saying. And I realized quickly that, French wasn't going to get me anywhere in the US. Luckily, as a 10-year-old, you learn to speak languages quickly, and by 6 months later, I was fluent in English. But this idea of being lost, started from this very early age, going between continents, and it continued. And in fact, when we moved to West Lafayette, Indiana, the university that is there is called Purdue University, Purdue. And if you replace the first U in that word, it spells Perdue, and if you know French, that spells perdu, which it translates to lost. So it was a perfect place for me to arrive there. So from West Lafayette, we moved back to Paris again. So, we kept going back and forth. Eventually, I ended up at Harvard University and went to college there. And again, Harvard University was on the east coast of the US at the time in 1978. That was still populated largely by private school students from the east coast, largely, a little bit from the west coast, but very few from the Midwest. And I was a little bit I was lost, let's just say. I was so lost that when I took my first chemistry exam in late October of 1978, I promptly failed it completely. I got the lowest grade in the class. It was a 21 out of 100, and that was generous because I looked at all the questions and I was paralyzed, and I just wrote a little bit on each question, and all the partial credit, ended up to 21, but really it should have been 0. And so that was my first big failure on my way to becoming a scientist. And that's